Hi everyone, in this lesson we are going to cover file operation commands. Okay, so topics mkdir, touch, cp, mv, rm, and finally lab. We already covered the basics of these commands. In this, we are going to cover their practical use cases in detail. So let's start with the first mkdir command. I'm going to clear the screen. Mkdir command, we know it is used to make directory or filing cabinet. Okay, and there are examples. First, let's see this one. Mkdir folder 1, we use this one to make a single directory, mkdir, and I'm gonna write folder 1 or whatever name you like. So by pressing this, you can see I have created the folder 1, and I can do ls-l, and this is how we are going to create the folder 1. So I think the folder 1 here, it's created. Then next we can also create two folder at once by just typing mkdir folder. Let's create folder 2 and folder 3. So we can create these two folders or multiple folders using a single mkdir command. Okay, let's move to the next command, which is mkdir-p, and this is a parent child grandchild hierarchy. So if you want to accomplish this hierarchy or create this hierarchy using a single command, then you need to use -p option in mkdir. Okay, let's first create mkdir file operations 1, and I am going to move inside of this. I'm planning to use all the commands inside of this folder, so we will just output related to this. Okay, then I'm going to use mkdir and -p. Here I'm going to create a project directory, and inside the project we are going to create, let's use a simple child and then grandchild. Okay, I'm just hit enter, going to press 3 command. You can see it's generating the output like I have project, then child, then grandchild. Okay, so this is how easy it is, and if you want to move inside of it, you can just hit project, then child, then grandchild, and here you are inside of it. I just want to get out of it. I'm going to press this, and here I am back to my file operations folder again. Next, create a project directory. Inside of project directory, there is a doc directory, and similarly on the same level, we have src and the test directory. Okay, and how I gonna use this? I can use same mkdir-p, and in this one I am using the project, and inside the project we have docs. Okay, and you want to add a slash, and remember you don't need to add the spaces over here, otherwise it's going to cause the problem. It's not work as expected. I'm going to press this one, and let me just create the last command using the project 1, because we already have a project directory, and here we are, and I'm going to press 3. So you can see on the same level we have a project 1. This project 1 contains the docs folder, src folder, and the test. If you need same directory on the same level, just use the curly brackets and write down the names of the folder. And if you need multiple levels, like within the child will be a grandchild, so you can follow this example over here. We will see a more complex example in the next slide. Finally, related to mkdir, we can create a directory by setting some permissions as well. Okay, so if I'm going to press mkdir, then I need to use -m option. It's used to set permission, and you can set any permission like 755 or 644. Okay, it's all up to you. 644, So what these three numbers are, let's use 755. This 7 is representing that the secret directory that we are going to create. This its owner have full permission, like owner have the read permission, write permission, and the execute permission. Their group, which is 5 permission, it means it has read and execute, and all the other members of this of system who have access, they also have the read and execute permission. Permissions we are going to cover very soon after a couple of more lessons, and I'm going to hit enter. Let's use ls-l, and here we are. The secret is a directory, and this directory has some permissions over here. If I'm going to create another secret one, and if let's give it a 644, and here I am, ls-l, and you can see this one, the secret one, it has 7, like the owner, then the group, which is just the read directory, 4 means just read, and then finally it has the other also have the read access. So this is how it works. Okay, let's move to the next example, Mkdir. We need to create this entire project structure in using one command. I'm going to hit Control L, and let's do the magic work and define this using a single command. What I'm going to use, I am going to write mkdir-p, okay, the option to create a hierarchy, then project. We already know that we have a project 1 on project, so I'm going to use project 2. Then inside of this project 2, there will be a docs folder. Okay, so this docs folder contain 2 more directories over here. This inside of this, we have design and the API, and I am going to write docs. And we have written the slash. I'm going to use design, comma, API. Please remember, don't use the spaces, otherwise you will see a surprise output. And inside the project, we are again on the same level. We have just closed this part over here. Now on the same level, we have an src folder, and inside the src folder, we have Python and JS. Remember, don't use any spaces, comma, right? And then we have a test folder, comma, and then we have a config folder. Okay, and what I need to do, this curly bracket is actually, let me first, this curly bracket is matching with the last curly bracket. Okay, remember to check the matching brackets, otherwise you will get the surprise. I'm going to use the tree again, and this one you can see the project directory. We have the config folder, we have the docs folder. Inside of docs we have API, design, src, and there is a test directory over here. Okay, so this test directory, and config. So hopefully you understand what we try to achieve. We easily achieve that using the command line. We are going to learn the touch command, and touch command is used to create or update files. Touch with some more examples. Let's do one by one and explore the touch command. Okay. So the first is touch file1.file.txt. Okay, what it first, I think it's a better idea. Let me get out of this directory, and I'm going to create a mkdir touch practice, touch p, or simple a touch command, cd touch p, and inside of it, let me press Ctrl L. So all the files that we are going to create available in this touch file.txt, and hit enter, ls-l. You can see we have a file.txt file which is just created. Next, we are going to use touch file file1.txt and file2.txt. You can create multiple files using a single touch command. Let's ls-l, and here we are. So we can create this. Let's create an alias first, otherwise I need to write L again and again. I'm going to use ls-l, and here we are. I have just created the alias, so we should be good. Touch file, okay, touch file.txt. Let's first do the list file. So this file.txt file, it was created at this time on my machine. Okay, this is 28 past 9 on my side, on my part of the world. Okay, and let's assume that if I want to change this time, this stamp with the latest time. Okay, so this file is, make sure this file is already created, and if I'm going to use file.txt again, which is already created 1 or 2 minutes earlier, if I will hit enter again, see what will happen. I have just hit enter and LL, and you can see now it's timestamp modified. So this is how you can deal with a file timestamp with the using the touch command again. Okay, so remember, when you write the touch command, it's not going to impact on the content of the file, but it just changed the timestamp with the latest one. Okay, so next, touch -d, and you can see a date or timestamp over here. This is going to change. So what it does, it is just going to modify the access or modification date of this file. Okay, so if I'm going to use what it says over here, like the file was at last access 2026, it's 01 representing the gen and the time and minutes over here. So how I can do this, right? I can use the touch command and touch -d. I'm going to say this file was last modified 2026. Then let's suppose gen 01, and on the gen which date it was modified, let's say 25 or 05. Use the same example. 05 is the date, day, then the minutes, then let's suppose 1425. I'm going to use the same one, file 1.txt. Okay, so this file last access or modification date is March 4th. And if I'm going to hit enter, then going to press LL again, you can see the file modification or access date is just updated with this timestamp over here. So this is how you can modify the file or customize this file. If you want to change this date, how you can do this. Now the next example, let's follow this one. What this command will do, it will create the 10 files starting with file1.txt, file2.txt. So there is also, this is also an option, touch file and 1.10, and then remove the curly brackets, .txt over here. And if I'm going to ll, then you can see all the files if created 1 to 10. Okay, so these are the 10th one is over here. So this is how it works in the example. I'm going to clear the screen. Okay, similarly, we can use the image examples like IMG. This is just a practice session, so don't worry, this is not the actual image, just going to show you how it works. And .png, and I'm going to press ls-l. You can see all the file with .png is just created. You can create the hidden files as well, like env, the environment file, mostly used in the programming projects, and git ignore, which created by git to exclude the files uploading to the Git repository. So these two files should be created again. And if I want to see this, I need to press ls-al or la. You can see these two hidden files created because they have the dot before this file. Okay, so let's move to the next command, which is touch logs error access.log. We are going to create two log files. I'm going to hit logs, and then inside of it, we are going to create error, comma, access.log. If I will hit enter, this command will not run, okay? And you need to think about it, why it's not working, okay? So if you are thinking this log folder is not created, then you are right. Touch command doesn't create the folder itself. Like first we need to create logs folder. Then if I will rerun this command, now it works. If I'm going to create the tree, like run the tree, you can see these logs file created. Finally, there we have a final touch example. In this one, this is a more unique case. Like inside of it, let's create two project folder, which one is project A, project B, and it will combine with draft and final, like project A underscore draft, project A underscore final, then project B underscore draft, and project B underscore final. And I am going to use this, let's remember a touch and dash underscore, then the curly brackets A comma B. So it will create two files. And now I'm creating another scenario that we need A underscore draft and A underscore final. And this will be a document file, .doc file, okay, or .txt, or which one you want to use, you can use it. Now hit enter. Let me run the tree command, and you will see the files are created successfully. So keep using touch command for your journey to create multiple files at once. I covered use cases that's hopefully gonna helpful you a lot. Okay, now let's move to CP command. CP command is used to copy the content of a file. We can consider it as a photocopier. Okay, so let's understand this. CP requires you the source and the destination file. Okay, so the source file and the destination file. Source file must be available, okay, or existed, and its destination doesn't need to be, like you just need to provide where you need to copy the content of the file. Okay, let's take this first example, which is cp file.txt. We are going to perform all the operations inside of this. And here we are. I'm going to create a file, the simplest and easiest way using the echo command, some file content. And I'm going to greater than symbol file.txt. This is the easiest way, ll or ls-l. So you can see file content is created, and cat file.txt, you can see this file has the content. Now I am going to copy this file, cp file.txt, where I am going to copy backup.txt, and this is just backup, ls-l. Backup file is created. I'm gonna see the content, backup.txt, some file content. So what we have inside the file.txt, now we have the same inside the backup.txt. Now let's move this file.txt into a backup folder. First, let's create the backup folder. I'm going to create backup folder, and here we are. Let's see the tree structure, and I'm going to see copy file.txt inside the backup, and slash. Slash is optional, but it's a standard. I use this, and here we are. I'm going to press tree. You can see now inside the backup, we just copied the file.txt. Now let's take the another example. Let's suppose we have a directory, how we can copy the entire content of directory inside the backup folder. We already have file.txt inside the backup. Let's create a document folder, mkdir documents, right? And inside the documents, I'm creating file-doc.txt, and let's see the tree structure. You can see inside the document folder, we have this one. Control L, tree again. So we have this. Now we are going to perform this command over here. First, use without the -r, so you can better understand this. Documents, if I'm going to press the asterisk over here or asterisk over here, this asterisk, make sure just copy the content of document folder, not the folder itself. If you omit this, it will copy the folder, right? So I just need the content. So I'm using this backup slash, I just hit enter, and you can see, let's run this tree command, and you can see now the backup folder contain this file.doc.txt, right? But let's suppose if I'm going to press this command again and remove this asterisk from here, okay, first this will not run because now it's asking for -r, because we are copying the whole directory, not its content, right? So when you are going to complete directory itself, then you need to perform a recursive command. For this way, you need to provide the -r to this. If I'm going to hit enter, now if you see the tree structure, now inside the backup there is a documents folder. Okay, I hope this makes sense and it's useful. Now, next cp command with -i. When you need -i, that's the good question, and I'm going to use ll. So we have file.txt and backup.txt. So I'm going to press cp-i. Okay, first let's copy again file.txt, backup.txt. So it did copy without asking, because there's some content available inside the backup.txt, but it didn't ask. It was overwriting. It overwrite without hesitation, without asking. If I will add -i, so you can see now it's asking a confirmation. So do you want to overwrite the file.txt to backup.txt? If I'll hit press yes or Y, it will overwrite it. So that -i is a way to make it more interactive. Then we have cp-v. It's a verbose form, and if we are going to perform this backup, just like copy everything from backup, it's not gonna work because we have some directories. To make it work, we need to just press R over here, and it copied all the structure of our current directory to the backup folder. Okay, so if I will just hit enter tree, each and every file is now copied inside the backup folder. Okay, so I hope you have a good understanding. Now let's move the our mv command. So the mv command is used to move or rename the file and folders. Okay, so here we are, and I'm going to move. So it's the old name, and if you want to give a new name, you need to provide, like, again, source and destination. With mv, you need to provide source and destination. Here we are. I'm going to use, let's create another folder. Otherwise it will not be a clean. I'm going to use mkdir mv practice. Let's first move inside the mv, and I'm going to hit. So we are inside the mv-b. Here we will perform this mv. Let's create first a file1 file1.txt. I'm going to move this file or rename this file. So if I need to rename, I can press mv file1.txt to file2 file2.txt. So what it can do, we will just rename the file, and here we are. Okay, and it's just only file2.txt because we just renamed this file. Next, what we can do, we can just move the file inside the a temp directory. Let's create the temp directory, tmp slash, and I am interested to move this file to, because we have file2.txt inside the temp. And if I'm going to see the tree structure, you can see we just moved this inside the tmp folder, right? Then we can create a documents folder, and we can move a file inside a document folder, just rename file, copy, and the rename as well. This is another example. Let's see. We have TAMP, and I'm going to create a touch file1.txt. What I'm going to say is mv file1.txt. Move inside the TMP directory and rename this file1_1.txt. You can see if I'm going to press 3, so it just copy the file1.txt inside the TMP directory. This is same we are doing with the documents over here. So MB, we can move the entire directory to source directory. If you just want to copy the content, you can use the asterisk over here. And if you want to make it interactive, like this folder is already existed, then you can use this interactive mode to ask the confirmation now, because you are going to delete this. These are some of the forms that you can use with the structure. Okay, I can, if you want, I can show you, but I think it should be good on your side. Then the RM command. RM command is used to remove the shredder and the danger zone. And you can just delete the file. Let's what we have. We have inside the TMP folder, we have file 1. I'm going to RM TMP slash file 1 under 2.txt. And if I'm going to, let me just hit Control L, then 3. You can see the file 2 just deleted. You can delete the entire directory. For this, you need to use R for recursive. I am going to delete the entire directory, and here let's use 3 or ls 0 directory 0 files. We don't have any files and directories. Next, we can do the forcefully as well, like for rm-rf is used for forceful if you are not able to delete any directory for any certain condition. This is how you can use the rm command, which we need to use with some cautions. Let's continue with the lab. It's a hands-on quiz style lab where I will ask the question, and then you can pause it and try yourself. After that, you can continue with the video and watch the answer. Question: how do you create a single directory named project 1? Okay, so before starting this lab, let's create a directory. I'm going to call this lab. Okay, and I'm going to move inside of this lab. Now, we need to create a single directory, mkdir project 1. So we have just created this directory. Project 1 is successfully created. Question 2, how do you create multiple directories like project 1 and project 2? Mkdir project 1 and project 2. Remember to add a space, and you can continue to add many directories at once. Project 1 is already created. I gonna create 2 and 3, so we should be good on this one. Oh my god, the last command, we created the project 2, so now both names should be unique, otherwise it's not gonna create. Okay, project 4 and 5 I just created. Let's continue with the next question. How do you create project documentation flow diagrams in one command? I can do mkdir -p with P option, and let's create project 6, and then documentation, then flow diagrams. Okay, so we just created the project 6 over here. Now let's move to next question, which is how to create a docs source and test inside the project using the single command. I'm going to use the project. Let's create a project 7 directory. Projects first, use the option -p. Project 7, and inside of this I would like to create the docs src and test. Here we are, and then again tree, so all folders created. Okay, next, how do you create a directory named logs with permission 764? 7 is for owner, 6 for groups, and 4 for other users. So Control L, I can do mkdir-m, and directory name is -m764, and then the directory name, which is logs, right? So we have successfully created the logs. Let's check the permission, ls-l, and here is the logs folder, and its permission is right. It's a directory, and is the owner 7, 6 till here, 3, and then only read over here. Okay, so that's how you get the answer. How do you create an empty file? We can easily create using the touch command, file1.txt. Next question, how do you create file 1? We know touch file. Let's create 2 and 3. Otherwise, again, going to say that file already exists, or it will be updated as timestamp. Okay, hope you know this. How do you update the file.txt with the current file? Do we have this file.txt? No, we don't have this file.txt. So first, if we are going to create file.txt, this will create the file, or when we type this again, it will update it with the current timestamp. So this is how we can update with the current timestamp. Now we need to create a file, set date to February 6, 2026. Time is 16:30, right? 30 past 16. I'm going to write this, and I am touch-t 2026, right? And Fab 6. Fab is the second month, 606. And then we are going to write 16:30. Oh, no, there's no need of colon, right? Just put at the 30 and file1.txt. That's how we can create ls-l. And you can see we have just updated file1.txt. So fab6, here we are with the date. Move to the next question, which is how do you create 10 files? File 101.txt to file 110. I can use touch file, and the curly brackets, I'm going to write 101 dot and then 110 curly brackets n dot txt. So if I'm going to press ls-l, you can see all files have been created successfully. Right, let me Control L this, move to the next question. How do you create a .env file, which is a hidden file? Touch.env. Here we are. We have successfully created. Next question. How do you create error log in logs at once? So we can use, let's check first. Do we have the log directory? No. Yes, we have. And I'm going to we can use touch error.log. No, we need to provide the logs. Error.log. It's log, not txt. Okay, and it will create. Let's see the touch and logs contain the error.logs. Okay, I hope this makes sense and we are good on this one. Okay, so how do you copy logs.txt to logs-backup? So we have logs.txt where we have ls-l. We don't have over here. Let's create this file. Echo logs, a lot of logs, and it's .txt. I'm going to create this logs.txt. Okay, so instead of this, let me write log content. Logs file created, ls-l. You can see the log file is created. Now I'm going to press Ctrl L again, and we are going to write logs.txt to logs-backup.txt. And oh my God, oh, I didn't write the touch command, which is needed, right? So I press the /. You can see I'm a bit hurried, so that's why it's causing the problem. And how do you copy videos to folder backups? Easily, we can use the copy command. We just need to create two folders, mkdir videos and backup. And let's inside the video create some videos. Video1.mp4, and I'm going to copy. Okay, let's see what we have. We have this video folder. We just created this. Now I am going to write the command cp because we need to copy videos / to backup / oh, we are using the directory, so we need to use -r. I just click on this and hit 3, and here we are inside the backup. You can see the whole backup folder created. Remember what I said, if instead of this one, if I'm going to write asterisk over here, so this will just copy the content, not the entire folder itself. Okay, I'm going to move to the next question. How do you copy but ask to overwrite? We can use the last command again over here, but if we are going to put I, so what it will do, it will ask me again to perform this operation. I'm going to hit enter. So this I asks a confirmation of make it interactive mode. How do you copy all files into backup and show progress? We can use the verbose mode. For that we need to add V option as well. So if I'm going to add, it will show me like this what it did. So it's because of -V. How do you rename catalogs.txt to catalogs backup? I don't think we have this catalogs.file. I just created this and I'm going to rename this. Let me show you first. ls-l. We have catalogs.txt file created. Now what I'm gonna do, mv catalogs.txt catalogs-backup.txt, and here how we did this. Control L, ls-l. Okay, so you can see we have now catalogs backup instead of catalogs. How do you move addresses.txt to tmp touch addresses.txt? And now I am going to move mv addresses.txt into temp / this is not going to run because we don't have temp directory. Now I will run this again. Now we hit enter, 3 command. You can see we have temp directory and we move these addresses. The final one, how do you move and rename context into documents and contexts? We need to move and change it. For this, I'm going to create this documents directory. Let's create the file context.txt. Then what we are going to do, move this context.txt to documents. Remember, Linux is case sensitive, like the lowercase d and capital D matters. Contact underscore email dot txt. And finally, I'm going to show you the tree command. So inside the documents, here we are. We have contact underscore email dot txt. Hope you will practice, and I'm pretty sure you have learned something if you are doing the lab with me. Okay, thanks.